Matt from the Nashville Libertarian Party, here with a new segment that will essentially try to keep people up to date. We're going to do it once a month. I'm just going to be sitting here in my backyard. We're going to call this Nash LP Happy Hour. I'm going to have one of my favorite beers and talk to you a little bit about what's going on here in Davidson County with the Libertarian Party and the different liberty objectives. So right now I'm just going to have this sip of this homestyle from Bearded Iris, one of my favorite beers. Figured we'd get us started out with something that I absolutely love, and we'll just go ahead and get started. So in September we had Hannah Cox to come in. She talked a lot about her evolution from a conservative that was very pro-death penalty and how she ended up evolving to somebody that had looked at the cost benefit and the moral aspects of the death penalty and seen that, hey, this doesn't make sense. It's actually more expensive to have people, and there is a small but significant percentage of people that are wrongfully convicted, and these are all major problems with the death penalty. And so she talked a lot about that, and she went into more detail about some of the advocacy work and policy efforts that she's running. And so that was awesome. We really appreciate her. She's been active in the Libertarian Party here in Davidson County, and it was great to have one of our own to talk about some amazing advocacy work. So thanks a ton, Hannah, if you're watching this, and please come back. We'd love to have you. And if anyone has any questions, be happy to shoot them over to her and connect you. So from there, we essentially talked about the COB, which is the Community Oversight Board. So a couple months ago, we had Dr. Sekou Franklin come in. He's from Community Oversight now. He and his team have been working on, at that time, was working on gathering signatures. So signatures to be able to get a new policy put forth to establish this Community Oversight Board. And so the signatures was to get something on the ballot, to get a referendum on the ballot. So he and his team were able to get those signatures, and so they will be on the ballot this upcoming election. I think that early voting starts in a couple weeks, a little more than a couple weeks. Just keep your eye out for that. To talk briefly about what the COB is, it's essentially a group of volunteers that are from various aspects, diverse aspects from the community, to be able to help keep the police accountable. And so these are citizens, not police officers, that will analyze if there are complaints against police officers, how that should go down. And so that there's some intricacies with that on what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them the best I can, or connect with somebody that is able to better answer them. But essentially, it's not going to be just the police policing themselves. So at certain instances, if you have a complaint against an officer, that may get sent to their superior, or it may get sent to another officer. Thankfully, something was changed in the not too distant past regarding officer-involved shootings, so that now directly goes to TBI, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations. But even then, there's still a lot that the police is essentially policing themselves, which is really unfortunate. So we want to be able to help better protect our citizens and better protect the police themselves, because at the end of the day, if citizens from a diverse background are saying, hey, this complaint isn't really valid, I think that as a community we'll be more likely to accept that and gather around and not expect misconduct to be occurring at that point. And so as libertarians, we definitely want to keep the budget low, and that's definitely a concern for some of us. There is a budget item installed for this to be able to help manage this committee and have the investigators on staff. But I think that at the end of the day, this is absolutely 100% vital for our community to have some kind of mechanism to be able to keep our officers accountable. We essentially are the ones that fund the officers. They are literally meant to serve us at the end of the day. They're meant to be our employees, and how do we keep them accountable at the end of the day? Right now, the mechanisms are not very good for that. And so Community Oversight now has taken a lead into creating this policy, and we think that no one else has done this at this point here in Nashville to this degree and put this much effort behind that. So me personally, I want to support that. I want to leave it up to your conscience if you want to, but please go out and vote for or against it whenever the actual referendum is up for a vote this next election that's coming up. So please be aware of that. If you're interested in helping out and getting more support around this issue, please let me know. That's something that I'm personally, again, going to be doing, not necessarily as the Libertarian Party ourselves, but to me, this is something that I think is just such a vital part of how we need to move forward as a community. And so I'm really passionate about it. I understand folks that have concerns, but let's have a discussion about it. I'd love to. So from there, we also are going to be looking into how can we better help a man by the name of Calvin Bryant. So this story came to me from Reason.com article, and there's some other articles in the Nashville scene about it. So this gentleman, this guy that was in college essentially, who had no criminal record in the past, was basically entrapped at the end of the day. So to sell somebody that was being paid by Metro ecstasy. So Metro was paying this criminal with a long rap sheet to continue to badger Mr. Bryant into making this consensual exchange with ecstasy. Well, that exchange, even though this is his first-time offender, that exchange has ended him up with a sentence of 17 years, which is absolutely unbelievable. 17 years, and that's a mandatory minimum sentence. Why? It's because essentially the house that the transaction was made in, which is where Calvin was living, was considered to be within a school zone, and that will triple the sentence, and it's mandatory at that point. So this is one of those things that I was just reflecting on. Wow, there's two consenting adults making the exchange, and now this guy that wasn't intending on hurting anyone is in prison for 17 years, a college student put in jail for 17 years, and he's already served a lot of time, enough time at this point, that he's already lost a large part of some of the most formative years of his life. It's unbelievable to think that through. Like, this is one of the most important periods and one of the most peak periods of this man's life, and he's spending them in prison without hurting a soul. That's upsetting. And so no other party has gotten behind this issue. I think we're the first ones in terms of political party, and I want to be loud about this issue, and I want to also invite the Republicans and the Democrats in Davidson County to join us in asking Governor Haslam to grant Calvin clemency. This is something that I could not imagine one of my buddies or myself being in this situation, and for something that just had no victim whatsoever. So please keep your eyes and ears open for this, the next steps on this. So essentially we're just going to be figuring out other alternative methods of being able to get out the message and get more public support around this. If you have any ideas, please share them. We want to be able to support that. and we'll go from there. That's it from our first iteration of LP Nash Happy Hour. So please keep on the lookout for these in the future. If you have any feedback, let me know. I know I say a lot and a lot of other weird things, so you can probably keep that to yourself. Actually, I already know it, and it'll just make me sad. So anyway, cheers to you, and we'll see you later.